I seen, you've got the podcast with JD now, you've been working with a lot of brands. Podcast with JD, you did something for Noisy with Topboy. And most recently you have the Vice show,
Yeah.
International Gangster Rap.
Yeah.
Which, bro, I have to say, it's like I didn't know what content I wanted to see from you next until I see this, and I was like, this is it. This is it, exactly it.
Yeah.
Because there's something about you that you're able to kind of get a little bit deeper into certain topics. And something like that is just so interesting. It's going different cultures, things that we don't necessarily think about on the day to day, but something is still super interesting. So the first episode, it was Poland, right?
Yes.
The Polish rapper.
Yeah.
Like that one was nuts. Like I actually haven't seen anything like that before. So how did that whole show come about with Vice? Was it something you had the idea, or did they come to you and pitch the idea? Like how did it come together, and what has your experience been like filming it?
It's been amazing, man. I can't even lie to you, bro. I think that it's interesting, because there's like a proper gray area in my life here where I didn't really know what I wanted to do, really, but I just knew what I loved. Do you get what I'm saying? I knew what I loved to talk about. I knew what I knew that I wanted to create something of my own and then start doing things off the back of that. And literally, having this time where I'm brainstorming and I'm looking at myself as a DJ and stuff like that, and I'm starting to have these conversations or whatnot. I started to understand that now is a perfect time to rebound off what was happening from before, and then rebuild who I am as a person and start creating something, and then rebrand as well. So I was thinking about all of these things, rebounding, rebuilding, and rebranding and stuff like that, and just but organically doing it.
Yeah, right.
So the podcast, all of this was happening, and then I knew, from this, that other opportunities will come from it. And that was a big part of preparation for me, innit? So when opportunity did come, I'd be ready for whatever it would be for me, innit? So when I got a phone call, the first phone call I actually got from them was about going to Cumbria. Yeah, I got a mad phone call from people at Vice, and they were like, "Oh, you know what? Do you fancy going to Cumbria to do micro gapping?" And I was like, "What the fuck is micro? I don't even know what the hell that is." But it was like, "Oh, we want you to we want to film you outside of your comfort zone," and they're taking a few different personalities, different places.
Okay, yeah.
So I was like, okay, tell me what do you want me to do? So they was like, they want me to take part in the world's biggest lie competition. They want me to walk down some tightrope and do some other things. And I thought, you know what? That would be kind of funny.
Yeah.
And kind of interesting. So I went and I did it. And also, that wasn't just about the experience of going to Cumbria and doing all of this stuff. This was kind of getting the experience of being in front of a camera differently. I'm used to being in front of a camera like this, where I'm just chatting and there's a camera there. But I've never been in a situation where someone has got a camera on me and asking me how I feel and what I think about what the hell is going on right now, and to talk in and amongst that. So that was practice more than anything for me to try and do something else. So that's what I was using it for.
Okay, interesting.
So I went and I did it, and that was funny. It was really good. I had a really good time. And then I got a phone call at the beginning of 2019 kind of to go on the Topboy set and stuff, which again, that was another thing that I was trying to use as practice, because I'd never done that before, walking around on a set and chatting to people and stuff like that. But I know the people that I'm going to be speaking to are people who are of my culture, and they're doing something that is a part of my culture that is so big and that I love as well. So now I can practice being in front of the camera, talking to people in a different situation,
right,
as opposed to being on the sofa. I'm standing up and I'm chatting to Kane, or like they'll be like, oh, Little Sims is ready, quickly, like let's go and chat to her quickly or whatever. So that was like a bit more practice. And then when I eventually got a phone call to do the gangster rap thing, initially they only told me one episode. So they didn't tell me the bigger picture. They just told me, do you know, would you fancy going to Ireland and finding out about the godfather of drill and whatnot? And instantly in my mind, of course I snapped their arm off for that, because I was like, yeah, of course I want to do that.
Yeah.
But in my mind, already I'd been thinking, like, I've done all of these other things and been in front of the camera. I'm going to be out of my comfort zone again, but I'm going to use elements of what I'd done with them before, and also my own personality and how I do things on my podcast, and just try to bring it to this and just try and do it in my own way. Do you get me? So I went to Ireland. I was there for 5 days, and like had all the questions. One thing that I was doing was I was like proper just doing bare prep and writing bare questions and doing all of these things here. And then I was thinking, it's just not really me. Like I am able to just sit down and try to just have conversations organically. Of course, there are certain angles that I know that they're going to want to cover, but let me just try and just I'm just going to try and be myself, innit? Because that's why they want me to be there. Yeah. Sometimes when you're creative, when you do something where you're like in front of a camera, or like, I don't know, like say you're an artist or whatever it may be, someone books you for something, you should not like try to change who you are and tailor that to the booking.
Right.
Because they've called you because they like what you do, or they see something in you. Do you get me? So like, sometimes people will go and do something, and then they'll go somewhere else and be completely different when people have booked them for them to be them.
Yeah, of course, right.
Do you know what I mean?
So
it's easy to like now think like, I can go there now and think, you know what? I'm going to be Reggie Yates now. That's what I'm going to do, because Reggie Yates is a documentary guy and they've booked me because of Reggie. No, they ain't booked me because of Reggie. They booked me because I sit down and I just had a conversation, and I've done this and I've done what X, Y, and Z. So it's like I can't go there and be anyone else other than myself. Otherwise, this is not going to last long. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I went and I did it, and it was different. It was proper different, but I proper enjoyed it and I loved it. And then afterwards, like, they really enjoyed the content, and then that's when they started telling me about like the other episodes that they sort of had lined up or whatever. And I think it was more just a test to see how it would work. That's why they didn't tell me about the other one straight away.
So it's like a kind of a trial run to see if this one works. Yeah. It's not too far, it's just across the river, yeah.
And I think, honestly, that is probably one of the first times, though, if I'm being honest with myself, where I genuinely felt like my preparation delivered in my opportunity. Do you get me? Where before, like, maybe there had been times where that has happened, but this time I genuinely felt it. Honestly, though, as we did more, I felt more comfortable. And if I'm being like a little critical of myself, I think maybe if I went back and did Ireland, it may be a little bit different now. But now, like, I've done it a few times and I'm more comfortable in front of the camera, and I know how I want to do certain things or whatever. Like, that's like super helped still. Yeah. So, and it definitely helped when it came to doing Israel and Poland.
Yeah. Because what you're saying about bringing yourself to it and not trying to be Reggie Yates. I think there was one moment in the Poland one, which I think is just the epitome of that. It was when, what was the artist's name? The Polish artist again? Popek, that was it. When he was talking about his dad and his dad being killed in the hotel. And you kind of, I think the way you approached that it was really amazing to watch, because you kind of got him to open up a little bit. And you could tell that's a door that he shut. Yeah. And he didn't want to open it. And he allowed himself to open it enough, but you didn't push hard, you didn't cry for it. It was just, it come out very naturally from him. And, we got to see kind of a little moment of vulnerability in an otherwise, like, hard guy, who he looks like he's, I don't know, in a whole different space. I can't even imagine how he's thinking. But for a second, you just managed to open it up and just get a little sliver of behind the scenes. Yeah. And I think that is a testament to you as an individual, because that is how you approach your podcast, how you approach the conversations there.
Yeah.
So that's what I say when I said at the beginning, it was the content I didn't know that I wanted from you.
Yeah.
But then when I saw it, I'm like, this makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And it's also music, you know, which is, it's kind of like your passion. But
I like substance. Like,
Yeah.
I like substance in people. I like substance in like in like many different dynamics and stuff. Like, you know, when I meet people who are like doing something, whether it be like creative or whatever it may be, yeah, I like to try to find the substance in it. And that's what makes me like people, and that's what makes me not like people and that as well. But like, I think it's good to do that in these situations too, like to have some substance. So it's like, cool, yeah, we can crack some joke. Like, we can crack some joke, and it can be wild and whatever, but it's like try and find the substance area in there. Do you get me? Like, I'm a fan of people too, and I think that is one of the reasons why I like certain types of people. I was saying to someone the other day that like I like Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn, I'm a super casual boxing fan. I'm not the geek. I'm not the nerd. I never claim to be or whatever. But because I'm a fan of people, and especially people that have substance and that, yeah, I can then start understanding things about their world because of the substance that they have. So like, I might listen to Eddie Hearn, and then before you know it, I'm just Googling bare shit that he's saying, or boxers and that, because I respect his opinion, and I just like him. Do you get what I'm saying? So when I'm hearing him speak, he's always talking from a place of substance too. Do you know what I mean? So if I have a conversation with someone, so I actually did have a conversation with Eddie, I wanted to also find that area of, yeah, he always talks about these boxers and all of these type of stuff. I want to get a different part of, like, element of substance from him. And with Eddie, I was able to get him to talk about wishing that he had started his career from the bottom, because he was saying that his dad started, because him and his dad have run the business together, and his dad made the business into a multi-million company, and then obviously from then he's taken it and almost into $1 billion company, yeah. But he was like, you know what? Sometimes I wish that my dad walks around in the garden and he's looking at the house and he's like, I can't, like, it never used to be like this. And he's like, for me, I look around and I just see my house. Do you know what I mean? This is just the house that I grew up in and stuff like that. But he's like, I wish I had that. So I always want to, like, if I'm doing docs or I'm having conversations with people or whatever it is, I'd always want to try and, if I can, get that, just that little thing underneath there.
A little bit extra, yeah. I think you've been doing a great job with that, from all the pieces, from the Vice thing to the JD interview thing as well. And obviously your own podcast. I kind of want to know, because I've heard you talk on Halfcast before with Poet, saying you said Poet is the king at patterning brands and getting a good deal with them. And you said personally that you learned a lot from him in that regard. But I've never heard you guys had that conversation in the public domain, at least. I might have missed it, but I haven't personally seen it. And I wanted to know, because I know a lot of presenters are going to be watching this, a lot of DJs with their own thing, a lot of podcasters who they really think, I really want to start working with brands, I really want to secure the bag, but they don't really know how to approach it. Yeah. So as someone that, you've done all different steps of your career, and now you have really big kind of opportunities working with brands, how would you advise them to kind of go about it? How would you advise them? Do they have to pitch themselves? Do they have to be contacted? Is there a certain way they can go about it? Or is it something that should just come organically when the time is right?
What I learned from Poet, is like, I've seen him in buildings, and it's mad. Because his level of, like, his confidence, I think it's like, the best way to describe it is, he knows his worth. So when he goes into a building, especially when they've called him in, he knows his worth. And he also understands budgets and how budgets and stuff like that work. So he comes and he's literally like, this is what I can do. And you know that I can do this. So open up the bag, and this is how much it's gonna cost, and just make it happen and watch me go. Do you know what I mean? And like, when you got somebody sitting there with that amount of confidence telling you this, and especially with the reach that he has, and the ability that he has on top of that, it's inspiring, but they also, it's like, you know what, cool, we'll do it for you. We'll make it happen, innit? Sometimes you can go and you can go in a meeting and you can sit around a table, like some of these tables, right? And people dressed a certain type of way. And you can be a little bit intimidated by it a bit. And then before you know it, people are telling you what you need to do. When really it's like, nah, hold on a minute. You've called me in here.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you how this thing works
You
because you called me here for a reason.
there, yeah, of course.
So, you know what I mean? We'll work that out however we work that out. But yeah, like one thing I always ask though is one thing I'll always say is always ask when you're dealing with budgets and stuff like that, or brands, always ask, what's your budget? Always ask that because sometimes that will let you know whether they're wasting your time or not. And also sometimes, you know, you can get more out of that situation as opposed to sometimes just coming there and telling them, you know what, I charge this. You tell somebody, yeah, I charge this, and then they'll be like, what? Seriously? You know what? Cool. We'll get two of them, or because they're thinking in their head, this I was gonna pay like 6 times that. Do you know what I mean? And like like being around Poet and that has definitely helped me understand what my worth is, because there's been certain times where we've had certain jobs or whatever it is, and if it was up to me and I would have just gone there and I would have just done the talking or whatever, we would have come out of there with petance compared to what ended up happening when he was like, nah, mate, like you're gonna pay we didn't pay, what? You crazy. Like, oh my God, man. Like, yeah, he's in a situation like that, he's super good, man, I have to say. But yeah, just like don't let anyone take the piss out of you, really.
So it's a negotiating kind of approach, you would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. But just don't let no brand take the piss out of you. And also, just like, just try your best to just stay true to what it is that you do when you're creative. Otherwise, if you don't, it don't last, man. If you're trying to be somebody else or you're trying to do something that someone else is doing, that shit don't last, because you're forever having to be this person that you're just not. And that's hard. I think it's harder to walk out on the street in life or in business and pretend to be somebody that you ain't, as opposed to being just who you are. It's so easy to just be yourself, innit?
Is that something you've always found easy, or is it something you've had to learn as you grew?
Yeah, I've always kind of found it easy being myself, but it hasn't always been easy. Do you know what I mean? It hasn't always been easy, but I don't know, man. I'm so committed to my process, man. Like I've taken so much risks in what it is that I'm doing. Like I've got to a point now where it's like I can't stop. I can't stop. Like my commitment to what it is that I'm doing, it never. Ironically, I sit and I talk and I have conversations all the time and all of that. Yeah, but the commitment that I have to this is beyond the talking. Like my commitment is all through my actions. Everything that I'm doing, you can see the way that I live my life, and the way that I've put my life on the line for this, really, in a sense of like, you know, going broke, not having any money, you know, trying to figure things out, feeling like I'm being behind in life, you know, watching my friends and stuff buy property and do all of these, like just going on holidays and all of these type of things, and me not being able to do it. Like I've just stayed committed to what it is that I'm doing just through my actions and everything, and also with an element of faith that at some point the dots are going to start connecting. And like, I feel like they've only just started to connect. In 2019, a lot of people did message me and was like super, some people were like very happy for some of the things that it was that I was doing or whatever, And I was happy about that. I'm not ungrateful for that, But there's a part of me that's like, I don't want this yet. I'm just starting, like save it because I want to do X, Y, and Z and more and whatnot. But with that too, you still have to enjoy the moments too. And that's something that I've like tried to work on a lot more, like enjoy moments.
So what is the point then that you think, if there is a point where you'll feel like, yeah, now come and tell me that I'm not ready to hear it yet, but now I am. Are you at that point now, or do you think there's still a way to go before you reach there?
I don't know. I'm learning. I'm learning and working on that because I don't know if I will ever reach that because I don't know if there. No, that's a lie. I will reach it, but I won't reach it from a goal like that. I'll reach that from more of a mindset thing.
Right.
Like it won't be. There won't be a job that I will get that I will say to everyone, oh yeah, you can applaud me now and all of that. Like, it's not about even getting applause from people like that. It's more just about being fulfilled within myself. So for me, like, there will become a point more from a mindset perspective where I'm like, you know what, yeah, I'm cool. Like, I'm super content. Right now, I'm just flipping, like, I'm so committed to this thing, bro. It's like, it's hard to explain it, man. But just keep going, innit? See what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens, man.
Yeah.
This whole thing is about connecting dots, innit? And like, as I said, I don't necessarily know where the end is. I don't know what I'm going to be doing 100% in the end. But right now, I feel like I'm going down this road and there's like a big sunset. And as I'm going down this road, there's like turnings. And I'm going down some of the turnings and that. And like, I've taken a left turn and I'm like, yeah, this is sick. Then I'm driving down there and I've taken a right and I'm like, nah, let me come back on the road. Then we keep going straight. But right now I can see the light and I'm just going to it and trying to learn as much as I can and just trying to get the best out of myself and trying to be the best that I can be myself and seeing where that leads to.
Yeah, you've got a very non-linear approach, which I think this is quite a positive thing, rather than saying, it's there, let me go there. It's, I know where I'm going, let me see what opportunities open as I head there and kind of find my way to get there.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Definitely.
I think it is healthy, the whole mindset thing, because it's, there's always going to be a better job. There's always going to be a bigger house. There's always going to be a better car. There's always going to be better, but it's finding that fulfillment and finding that kind of satisfaction deep within yourself.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can kind of reach that.
Definitely. And my mind is free. I feel like my mind has become more free and way more open. So like, I believe that I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at. So it's easy for me to, when I'm going down this road and there's the light there and there's these turnings, when I go down and bust a right quickly, it's easy for me to identify this is not for me. It's easy. And then I just go back on the road again and just keep going straight. Also, the great thing is that I have something of my own. Like, it's mine. And I sit there, like my podcast or whatever, and like that's my main plant. And it's super important that I continue to keep watering that plant because the more that I water that plant, the more opportunities lead for me to, do other things that tap into things that I'm good at and challenges me as well. Do you know what I mean? If I don't water that plant, then nothing happens.
Yeah, it's like you can never neglect the core of the thing.
No way. No way. If I start doing that, everything has to stop.